Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being truly well-informed. Today, we're plunging into, well, a single, really compelling MLB matchup. It absolutely captivated fans and, carried some significant implications for the National League standings. Our mission for you, our listener, is to pull out the most important insights from all the material we've gathered on this crucial showdown. We're talking about the New York Mets' hard-fought 5-3 victory over the San Francisco Giants. And look, this wasn't just another game on the schedule, right? It really felt like a microcosm of these intense battles happening across the league. Teams just jockeying for playoff spots. It delivered, dramatic swings of momentum, incredible clutch performances, pretty much everything that makes baseball so great to watch.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, what we're going to do is really dissect the key plays. We'll analyze the strategic decisions that shaped the outcome, and maybe most importantly, explore what this result truly means for both of these clubs as they move forward. The goal here is taking all that raw info and turning it into clear understanding for you.
Okay, so let's unpack this Mets victory. That 5-3 win,
Mm-hmm.
it felt like more than just another W. It felt like a statement. It really spoke volumes about their resilience, their knack for timely hitting, and what seems like a bullpen that's really starting to solidify.
And what's really insightful here, I think, is the immediate context. This wasn't just one win in isolation. No, it actually completed a huge 3-game sweep for the Mets right there in Oracle Park. And it pushed their winning streak to 7 games. That's a season best. Streaks like that, well, they're rarely just luck, are they? It often shows a team that's really hitting its stride, all the pieces clicking together.
Right, finding that rhythm.
Exactly. And it's not just about winning. It feels like a shift in their whole approach. It's less about waiting for one big hit, more about this relentless pressure, especially late.
And what a game it was. It felt like, a classic National League chess match. You had the strong pitching, sure, but also those bursts of offense that just kept you glued to the game.
Definitely. So let's dive into the pitching a bit. Kodai Senga, the Mets starter. Okay, he got the win technically, but it was let's say a bit of a rocky outing for him. 5 walks over 5 innings, and he gave up all 3 of the Giants' runs. That really highlighted maybe a slight vulnerability there in his control. Something to watch.
Yeah, 5 walks is quite a few. And the Giants definitely looked ready to jump on that, didn't they? Matt Chapman, he was their offense, basically carried them.
He really was the linchpin, accounted for all 3 runs with those 2 homers.
That second one, the 2-run shot in the 5th, that actually put the Giants ahead 3-2 briefly. You could feel the tension ramp right up then.
Oh, yeah. Big moment. And that brings us right to what feels like the turning point. Has to be the 7th inning, right? Mets trailing.
Yes. Okay, let's talk about Ronny Mauricio. That solo home run, just electrifying.
Yeah.
And hitting it off an all-star reliever like Randy Rodriguez into McCovey Cove, no less.
Just massive. A game-tying blast.
And it wasn't just the run, right?
Yeah.
For Mauricio, who ended up with 4 hits, career high, what does that signal?
Well, it signals depth, doesn't it? Unexpected contributions, especially from the bottom of the order. That's huge for any team.
Absolutely. A deep lineup makes such a difference.
And then, right after Mauricio's heroics, okay, Nimmo and Lindor strike out, pressure's back on, but then Juan Soto steps up. His team-leading 25th homer, an opposite field shot too. Mets go up 4-3.
That's Soto, right? Just consistent power.
And that ability, to deliver in those high-leverage spots, it's uncanny sometimes.
And they didn't stop there. They tacked on an insurance run in the 9th. Again, Mauricio involved, the Nimmo, consecutive doubles, just widen that gap a bit more.
Yeah, that 9th inning run really helped seal it. But to really get how the Mets locked this down, we absolutely have to talk about their bullpen. Their performance after Senga left was, well, exceptional. Just shut down the Giants' offense completely.
They really did step up. It felt like a parade, right? 5 different Mets relievers came in. You had Jose Butto getting the win with a scoreless 6th. And then Gregory Soto, making his New York debut, pitches a perfect 7th. That kind of smooth transition is key.
Totally key. And then you get Edwin Diaz coming in to close it out, gets his 23rd save. But it wasn't easy, right? He had to navigate that bases-loaded jam in the 9th, big strikeouts of Adams, and then Chapman to end it. Whew.
Talk about high pressure.
Exactly. And that collective effort, it points to something bigger, strong relief pitching. That's often the difference maker for contending teams. It just gives you that crucial layer of security, lets you win even when your starter, like Senga today, maybe struggles a bit.
Yeah, a safety net. Now, flipping over to the Giants, this sweep at home Has to be a bitter pill to swallow.
Oh, undoubtedly. And their struggles were pretty clear, weren't they? I mean, yes, the Mets bullpen shut them down, but even before that, they couldn't really string much together after Chapman's homers, even when Senga looked vulnerable.
Right, they couldn't capitalize.
And then Randy Rodriguez giving up that homer to Mauricio. I mean, he only allowed one all season before that.
Well, really?
Yeah. So you wonder, was it just a blip? Or maybe a sign of bullpen fatigue? They've worked hard lately. But regardless, these are the kinds of losses that can really sting, especially against a team you're fighting with for a wild card spot. It exposes those vulnerabilities, offensive consistency, bullpen holding leads, things they need to fix.
And yeah, you mentioned it, the trade deadline is looming. This series must give the Giants front office some tough choices to make. Are they buyers, sellers? Do they just hold steady and hope things turn around?
Tough decisions ahead for them, for sure.
Oh.
But let's bring it back to the Mets, because this game, and really this whole series, it feels like a pretty pivotal moment for them.
Yeah, it does. They're not just winning games now. They seem to be winning decisively. Winning with real grit. There's this collective belief that seems to be growing almost game by game. You can sort of feel it.
Well, think about it. For weeks, right, analysts were asking, is this Mets resurgence real? Is it sustainable? Or just a hot streak that'll fade? I think today's performance, with the resilience, the clutch hits, that lockdown bullpen, it firmly pushes the needle towards legitimate contender. They showed they can win even when their ace, Senga, isn't at his absolute best. That's significant.
And look at the standings. They've now pushed that NL East lead to 1.5 games over Philly in that division. That's decent cushion, actually.
It is. And circling back to the bullpen one last time, their performance lately, maybe it suggests they need fewer upgrades there at the deadline than we might have thought a few weeks ago. That could free them up to focus on other areas, maybe add another bat or some rotation depth if they decide to be active buyers.
Interesting point. So overall, this victory felt like a loud declaration, didn't it? From a team that just seems increasingly determined to make a real mark on this 2025 season. They're definitely walking with a more confident stride now. So, thinking about all this, what does this deep dive into just one baseball game really reveal? About things like momentum, resilience, those strategic shifts that define a team's potential, especially with that trade deadline getting closer.
Yeah, it's a great question to leave you with. Maybe consider how these kinds of microcosm events we see in sports, how they might reflect larger patterns elsewhere, whether that's in business or maybe even in your own personal goals. How sometimes a series of these small, hard-fought wins can build up and turn into something bigger, like an undeniable surge. Something to think about.